getting into the top prop bets to pair with the afternoon taco as well as the evening taco. Let's get into it. And I was planning on doing a live stream this afternoon. There just isn't enough, I guess, solid prop bets to warrant that pretty much. It's pretty straightforward. And so with that, the video is going to be shorter, just me going over the top props that we have out there as it sits right now. So college basketball wise, we are still getting that favorable Nick Boyd one at minus 140 for the odds. Very good odds that we're getting there. The only issue with that one is that it takes place this weekend. A lot of people don't want to wait that long. And then after that, we got Andre Jackson, minus 139 to get over 6.5 rebounds. And then we have two that take place tonight. We got Eric Gaines over 2.5 assists. And so we can see kind of been a little bit hit or miss there. And on the season, he does average 4.5. So it just kind of seems strange there. It seems like he's either really getting it or not. I don't really know UAB basketball at all. I don't really know why that is. But what I do know is that we are getting a favorable line there. We got Connor still as a pretty good prop bet for over 3.5 rebounds. That's at minus 138. So we got two decent college basketball props that take place tonight. And so for what it's worth for NHL here, we're really not getting any great lines just yet, okay? They have been extremely tight with those lines. So I do want to just see here. Let's sort by NHL real quick. Let's see if there are any that we could just like find pushes for. And so like if you just wanted to pair these up with one of the tacos, hoping that the taco hits, I'd be fine with that. You know, taking the push, minus 200, taking that push and then just, taking a slight profit instead of the full profit. I'd be fine with that on tonight's slate, but it's probably not the route I'm going to go. Let's go ahead and get into the NBA. All right, so the best prop that we currently have is going to be Tyler Hero over 4.5 assists. We can see he is projected to get over that 4.6, not huge, but a slight edge there. Minus 138, so we're not getting that many minus 141s today. Typical for a Taco Tuesday. And we can see kind of across the board, it should be one that's close, but for the most part should be able to get the over. And we can see the biggest issue with him is the simple fact that lately hasn't been able to get the over. Okay, that's the biggest worry there. Kind of a strange line, I would say. On paper, doesn't look that great, and it is a difficult matchup against Toronto. But if we just want to take the favorable odds, knowing that on average more of them are going to hit than they don't, when they're minus 138, minus 137 or better, I don't mind that route. If we do that, we're going to be profitable in the long term with tacos. From there, we really aren't getting much, which is kind of interesting. Jalen Williams is getting a big prop bump, which I found very interesting. Projected minutes around 26. I don't really want to chase. I just found that one very interesting there. Then we look at underbets, still nothing that I love too much. Now, once again, if we just look at the fantasy ones, we can see we do have some props where we are getting some edges in which, like if we combine the average sportsbook odds, we could also see that these are pretty solid ones. And I would say Nick Richards, this is actually very high for him, but at the same time, minus 126 is pretty much the average sportsbook line for him to get over 37 fantasy points, which is crazy. So he probably should be able to get there. I don't really like looking at fantasy props in this sense. I kind of like to go to the other tab. So I'll get there in a second, but we're going to take off fantasy points here, and we're going to see what are the best props that we're getting in terms of misprice. So Clint Capella slightly for points, rebounds, and assists. The average sportsbook line has it set at 24.5 at minus 105 to get the over. So they are favoring the over at 24.5. Obviously, we like to see that. We're getting a big edge there. Darius Garland, basically a push, but that's at 25.5. So favorable there. Jakob Poeltl, another one that is looking like it's a push, but it's a push at 24.5. So earlier this morning, it seemed like the 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists was going to be a good prop. Well, that is what this is telling us as well, is that we're getting a full point with these guys. And they also are, more or less favoring a push or the over. All three of these would be good props. And then we do have a decent amount that are not really matching up with the average sportsbook. Trae Young over points we could do, which we already had that for the taco, so probably don't want to get too much exposure. That was from the morning. Evan Mobley over rebounds is an interesting one. The average sportsbook line has it set at 10.5, and they're favoring the over. It's basically a push, though, here, so probably one we're staying away from. And now just trying to find some under odds that we can hit. Nothing that's too much. I typically like to see at least a half of a difference there, and so we're not really getting that. Let's take a quick peek at fantasy score. So yeah, Kevon Looney, Nick Richards are two players that are popping up. I don't really like touching Trey Murphy. He's been someone that's been popping up a lot lately just because of the injury stuff. Same thing with John Collins. I know he's been hitting it recently. I just don't really want to touch that. And then we did get news that SGA is going to sit tonight. So with that, we do know we could be looking at someone like potentially Jalen Williams. You look at his per 36 numbers, though, it's not really suggesting that this is a great line. It'd be the matchup that we would want to be chasing. Jalen Williams per 36 numbers with SGA off the court is 25.5 points, 5 rebounds, and 3.8 assists. So it'd actually be the under that we want to go with there. Jalen Williams has been someone that has been playing well, so wouldn't it be shocking to see him have a good game? Josh Giddey averages 17.8 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 7.7 assists. He is someone that also we probably want to stay away from. Dort is someone that actually does get the biggest bump, although lately that hasn't been true. Probably not touching him as well. Like, they are all propped up. And like, this is a massive fantasy score for Jalen Williams. He does average around 5.3 more fantasy points per 36 with SGA off the court. But is he really going to get 36 minutes? That's been tough. And he only does average 34.5 fantasy points per 36 with SGA off the court. So I was hoping we would get a good line there. And then just looking at, we do know that Jaren Allen is going to be out tonight. And so with that, what are we expecting from Evan Mobley? Okay, his per 36 production is 42.3 fantasy points per 36 with Jared Allen off the court. He averages 19.9 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 2.9 assists, and about 2 blocks and 0.9 steals per 36. Okay, so in theory, he should be able to get there. The question for me is, what is the line? Well, it is a 239 over under there. That is a really good number. And then -2. Okay, so it's a very close game. That, in theory, should be a game that we do want to attack. And so Evan Mobley, it's not the best matchup against Atlanta, but at the same time, I expect him to be able to get there. And like, I would say we're probably just doing fantasy points, although that's a big jump. We're hoping for not a lot of turnovers, and we're hoping for a block and a steal for his fantasy points to get the over. And actually, I'm just seeing that they bumped Jakob Poeltl up to 24. So hopefully you guys were able to take advantage of that earlier. But this is honestly just a slate in which, as I'm recording this, we're just not getting great odds. That could change by the evening taco. And if it does, and you're a 9 to 5 member, it's $10 a month. Okay. It gives you access to that cheat sheet as well as all the fantasy golf tools. Hopefully we get some good favorable odds for the evening. But as it says right now, I'm just going to take the favorable odds that we do have, because that's kind of what the slate is presenting. Okay, we're getting some good props for college basketball, so I'm just going to take those. And sorry, this should be more for Eric Gaines. Misclick there. We want more for Eric Gaines assists. And then the rest of these are right. These are all -138 or better on average in the long term. We chase the favorable odds. It's going to be rewarding. So that's what I'm doing. But that's all for tonight's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do. Give a like and subscribe. Let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cashing.